This week, we pass or play on Blood and Guts, the Rascalz rule the multiverse, and the Wyatts form for Bo Dallas. This is the Dangerous Drivers Podcast.
People have been asking me to be the best in the world. Why, Eddie, why? I'm better than you.
My eyes are red. I was in the back smoking a joint with their dad.
You know it.
I do always love that. I love that ending. Ugh, and you know it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Stevie Jobber.
And I'm Dangerous Duke.
And welcome back to the Dangerous Drivers Podcast, putting wrestling over one podcast at a time.
Yes, sir.
And this week, like I said, we do pass or play on AEW. This week, they are doing Blood and Guts on Dynamite this Wednesday. And I don't have a lot of points, so I figure we'll play pass or play, and we'll talk about what we really feel. Starting pass or play, the new Maria May. As All In Wembley comes, she is fighting Toni Storm, and she's debuting a new glamorous gimmick. Pass or play.
You know what? I'm gonna be generous here. I'm gonna hit play on it, but I'm just gonna hit play on how I feel about it.
Okay.
Make it a little bit easier for all of us. Now, to be honest, normally most people wouldn't care about a Maria May gimmick, but she's been with Toni Storm. She's doing somewhat of the same gimmick that Toni Storm's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of have like a good little, they got a good little back and forth to get into with this. And especially coming off of just beating Toni Storm to a bloody pulp, which was, I don't know how this makes me sound, but it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. So yeah. I am invested in this. I do want to see what happens, because you can't just beat somebody down like that and not have a little bit of interest in it.
Yeah.
It's like you're stealing everything that person was. So I gotta see it.
I feel like and we'll end it here. I feel like the great thing about the AEW women's division is that it comes in eras because of the way the company is ran. So there's the early Thunder Rosa era, then the Britt Baker era, and now we're kind of in the Toni Storm era of it. And whether this is the end of the Toni Storm era or not, it has been entertaining, if nothing else. You know,
exactly.
It has been very entertaining. And if Maria May can have a Jamie Hayter type spinoff, then I'm happy to see it. But I think, if anything, let's just acknowledge how great Toni Storm has contributed to the division as far as carrying kind of what everyone's going to remember from that time on her back, you know?
Yep.
Next pass or play, Dustin Rhodes has been put with the Von Erichs. It looks like almost officially. I don't know if they're going to be a trio going forward, but they're definitely going to be collaborating more often. How do we feel? Pass or play?
You know what? I'm gonna let you decide this one. I will let you decide.
Because I don't have more than a couple words, I'm gonna pass. But I will say that I like it, and I just want them to do well.
Okay, I was 50-50 on it. I didn't know whether I wanted to or I didn't want to, but okay.
Yeah. There's not too much to be said. I just want good things.
Mm-hmm.
Just want good things. Pass or play. Jeff Jarrett makes recent comments about WWE's creative directions heading to Netflix.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hit play on this because I'm sorry. I feel like Jeff Jarrett is the guy that's become like my new scapegoat. I think he's become
he's your new scapegoat.
Yeah, he's become my new TJP. He's become my new Renee Dupree. Yeah, he's become.
For those of you who don't know that are new fans, It's not a good thing to be as TJP. We do love
Yeah.
TJP, but it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, somebody just says something that becomes a scapegoat for me. It was TJP first, then it was Rene Dupree. Now I'm thinking it's Jeff Jarrett.
Mm.
Jeff Jarrett was recently on a podcast and had some comments to say about WWE's creative and them going to Netflix. And his words of choice were, "This would be the perfect time for WCW to come back and make it on TV again." So that really got me thinking, and it grinded my gears so many ways. For one, WCW was great for like 2 seconds, and then they weren't. And then number two, we already have a WCW that's alive today. It's AEW. Now, will I say it's alive and well? No, because it is not well. It's good. It's decent. It's not well.
Mm-hmm.
AEW and WCW are the literal same company. The only difference is AEW actually likes their cruiserweights.
Mm-hmm.
WCW didn't want jack shit to do with their cruiserweights. Look at how dog shit Billy Kidman and Eddie Guerrero and Jericho and Rey Mysterio were treated.
Yeah. And think about how they wrote shows in WCW too.
Yeah.
They had like writers and stuff. Nobody agreed with them ever, but they had them.
Yeah. They made somewhat sense.
They did try to thread stories together.
Yeah, but I mean, the comments from Jeff Jarrett, the guy who couldn't draw money with a green crayon, to say something stupid like that, just your claim to fame was hitting somebody with a guitar and your dad starting up TNA.
Great startup though. Great startup.
You again, what's the difference between WCW, AEW?
Yeah.
Dad started up the company with some money.
Yeah.
Tony Khan.
That, you know what? Now it makes perfect sense on why I thought now is the time for WCW.
Like,
now is the time. All tides rise.
Right. Actually, go ahead.
And then for the last thing, for pass or play, we actually have to talk about whether we'll pass or play on the Blood and Guts match itself. That being the Elite, Matt and Nick Jackson, the EVPs, Okada, Scapegoat, as we were saying, Scapegoat, Jack Perry, and the newly reunited Hangman Page joining the Elite to fight Team AEW in the purest form of WCW style wrestling. We're going to have a match out of nowhere just made of NWO guys and WCW guys for, issues and giggles. Swerve leading the pack, so Swerve's not having a title match. The Acclaimed, because Darby Allin and tying it up with Darby Allin will be Mark Briscoe, the ROH World Champion. So, Team AEW, Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Champion. The Acclaimed, because everyone loves the Acclaimed. Darby Allin, because he was around. And Mark Briscoe, because it's a hardcore match. Versus the Elite.
Oh my God.
Pass or play.
I guess we gotta play this bull crap. Like, did we need this? AEW, did we need this? Who booked this match? Was it Jeff Jarrett?
It could have been. It could have been. Anyone's part of creative these days. You never know. You never know. It's such a WCW idea. It definitely could have been.
I'm gonna go to an AEW show. I'm gonna go sit ringside and then pitch my idea to be a part of creative, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna be on their creative team within a week. I will be creative. I will be a booker. I will be a road agent. I will be everything within the span of a week.
Yeah, what a weird mix. I just think I think to myself so many times, you know, seeing this blood and guts come out of nowhere and them just kind of assemble out of thin air really put together for me all the criticisms people have for WWE, and then the immediate thought of you have no idea what you're talking about. This is exactly why we love Triple H, because I had no idea this match came together. I don't know how it came together other than y'all just forming it in a night and just saying this is what we're doing. And it's so weird because maybe if you had drawn out this for like a month, we would have seen this coming and been
Yeah, like
excited for it, kind of like a war games, like the professionals do it. Yeah, I don't want to say it's unprofessional, but I'm just to say that like by the time we get to a war games, we know who's in the war games, we know why they're in the war games, and we're ready for the war games.
exactly. And like you said, it's the buildup that gets us excited for it. There was no buildup for this. They kind of just took shit, threw it to a wall, and made it stick. And it didn't even stick. They put glue on it as they threw it.
And I feel like they lean so heavily on the fact that it's where the best wrestle that they're trying to find the easiest way to say I don't care about long-term storytelling at all.
Exactly.
Like I want the best matches. I want to give you the best match of the night every night, which is fine. Which is fine. I'm
But
just saying it kind of it kind of diminishes the result of a dream match.
exactly, like you can't just take these names and throw them together, especially when it's the names that you're using. All right, so I'm gonna like go to the elite side. The Young Bucks are in every damn. They're in almost every type of crazy match. The blood and guts, the exploding whatever, the heart attack soup, like the flips and the kicks. They do the same thing. It's the same shit with the Young Bucks every time. Okada, he's kind of new. I'm giving Okada the pass. Plus, he's a little bit funny. Yeah, doing his stuff now. He's a little bit funny. Scapegoat Jack Perry, he's got a new gimmick. Okay, we need to use him. He's our friend. Whatever. Hangman Adam Page, the guy with the personality of a wet mop. He can do a front flip lariat. Cool,
he drinks.
He drinks beer and does a front flip lariat. Other than that, he's about as bland as a $2 steak. And then, you go to the Team AEW side. Swerve Strickland, he's the world champion. Okay, cool. I guess we're not going to have Swerve defend his title. We're not going to have him defend his title. Okay. The Acclaimed, everybody loves the Acclaimed. Cool. I'm just glad they didn't put, 60-year-old Billy Gunn in the match. Thank God.
For once, right?
Darby Allin, we get it. He's crazy. He jumps off of stuff. He breaks his body. He has face paint. Cool. Darby does the same thing all the time. Can we get something new for Darby, please? Aside from a crazy match where he's going to be the one to go through the table. You're basically breeding this dude to be the next Jeff Hardy. And then Mark Briscoe, I can't say I can't say nothing bad about Briscoe. I can't. I love Briscoe. He's funny. He's hilarious. I just wish they treated him better with this ROH world title. But we don't need this bullshit. Just give us a story that gets us here. And it's like going to a restaurant. I don't want my steak to be the first thing I get. I would at least like my appetizers and to have a drink before I get my steak. I don't want to walk through the door and just get the porterhouse right there. Give me my appetizers first. Give me my chicken wings. Give me my salad. Give me my stuff before I get to the big meal.
I'll end with this because everything you said is how I feel. To put a bow on it, I'm not crazy, in case you think we're just hating. I'll tell you this. I've seen at least 2 of MLW's. MLW doesn't exactly have quite the space to have a war games, but they do have War Chamber, where they put it all in one ring, and they do pretty much the same match. And even they build up to War Chamber. Like it's
Yeah.
you build these things because there's a lot of people in them. Like you know what I mean? Like you have to care about why they're going to war. You have to care about why this is a blood and guts match. It's supposed to be about something. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they beat Dusty's ass in it for God's sake. I mean, like, I mean, this was all created to like mean something at the end of the day for a storytelling purpose. So to kind of throw that out the window, and it only upsets me because it's probably the first year they just have not cared about the story at all. At least there was a build up every other time you did the war game.
Yeah, like you.
Like some faction had to die. Like some war had been going on for months. Blackpool Combat Club had been whipping everyone's ass for months, and something needed to be done. Like there was a
Absolutely.
story every other time. Now it just seems like you guys were jackasses. Oh, we have war games tonight. Let's find some people. Like you know what I mean? Like what is
Yeah,
this? What is this, man?
it's like you just pulled names out of a hat and said, "All right, let's go."
Ugh,
And
ugh.
I will say you are absolutely right that they don't care about the story. It just, man, it make no wonder Cody Rhodes left when he wanted to leave.
I mean, I hate to say it. I hate to be that guy.
Disrespecting
I hate to
disrespecting
be
the
that guy,
story.
but
Don't
I
ever
mean,
disrespect the storytelling. Okay. No wonder
jeez,
Cody Rhodes
he
left.
literally left and took the stories with him.
Yes.
Um, to move on to some better things, so we don't become AEW haters.
Does someone have a story worth telling elsewhere?
Absolutely. Over in Slammiversary, they're telling the story of Reunite, and it feels so good.
Yeah.
The Rascals are coming back together, or have come back together, at the height of Wesley having nothing for creative for months in NXT
I mean, yeah.
because Sean was trying to get a bunch of other people over and they didn't want to lose credit on West. So he just wasn't on TV for a while and he was always like halfway contemplating
Yeah.
quitting. Um, in this perfect scenario where TNA is trading talent with NXT, the Rascals were able to reunite. And in just 1 week, I think we got 3 back-to-back Rascals matches. Well, 2, but almost 3.
Yeah.
We got 2 matches in a promo.
Hmm.
We got the Rascals going up against Gallus, 3 of the finest men you will ever see in a wrestling ring, is especially as far as UK wrestling. They put the Rock back in shape. They go against the Rascals, and what was start to finish a freaking banger. The Rascals went out flipping all over the place. Gallus went out hitting people everywhere they could, and it was a classic. And then Thursday they have a classic Rascals Treehouse promo, where they smoke at the end off cam, and they do the
Hmm.
funny thing about Desmond being Wesley now. Tremendous stuff. Felt really awesome to see them do that. And then coming out to the old Rascals theme at Slammiversary and in Buzz Lightyear gear, no less, because they're definitely just a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Like, and giving it to No Quarter Catch Crew, who came from NXT. So to have an
Yeah.
NXT TNA match on Slammiversary was just tremendous,
Yeah. It's
tremendous stuff.
pretty damn cool. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it.
And it's just been a gift to see these 3 guys do what they do in a situation that benefits everyone around them. Uh, so that's just awesome. That happened at Slammiversary. Unfortunately, a lot of the other surprises we weren't able to get because a lot of flights were delayed due to the Microsoft Windows whatever thing crashing.
Yeah.
So they were supposed to have a ton of other surprises. I personally thought this was going to be the year AJ showed up. It did not happen. Um, and Jonathan Grisham didn't get to perform either. And I was really looking forward to him and Kushida. So that sucked
Hmm.
because Kushida put out some crazy old school gear from like Japanese legend. And it would have made total sense against Jonathan Grisham. and he wasn't there, so Kushida just fought some dude. Not to make the dude irrelevant, but it was just some dude when you know the match you were gonna get. You know what I mean? Um, that being said, one of the great surprises we did get, one of the matches we were able to have that was probably a classic in itself, was the 6-man match, or the elimination match for the TNA World Championship. Moose from the System, Joe Hendry, Josh Alexander, Nick Nemeth. I'm trying not to leave anybody out. Um, I think that was everyone. Hendry,
Hendry,
Grisham.
Gresham.
No, Hendry
No, no,
Alexander. Henry Alexander, Nemeth,
Moose.
Moose. I feel like there was one other person that I'm missing. Give me a second.
Kazarian.
Kazarian. Okay. Uh, so they're having this match. I believe Kazarian ends up. I think Kazarian ends up eliminating. Who else is in there? Let me make sure I got this whole.
I know
list.
Moose was eliminated by Hendry.
Macklin. I believe Kaz ends up eliminating Macklin. Kaz ends up getting eliminated. I believe Joe Hendry eliminates Moose.
Yep.
After Hendry eliminates Moose, Josh Alexander ends up turning on Joe Hendry, kicking him square in the nuts, giving him the C4 spike. Hendry is out. Everyone's surprised and pissed off because we all thought this was the moment Hendry was going to win. So Josh Alexander turns heel, takes out Moose. He's been making fun of him on social media all day, by the way. And then Nemeth ends up eliminating Josh Alexander to become the new world champion, if I'm correct.
Kazarian. Kazarian was final two.
Kazarian ends up staying out of the way.
Yeah, because Kazarian came back in towards the end and tried to steal it from Nemeth.
Okay. So Nemeth ends up beating Kazarian and becoming world champion. He gave a great promo afterwards talking about finding TNA after years of thinking he couldn't get back to the top, and what it means to have it now, and how he was ready to walk away if he couldn't do it. What do you feel about him becoming champion at Slammiversary in Canada instead of Joe Hendry?
I don't mind it because, Joe Hendry's at one of them stages right now where it's like he doesn't need the title to be relevant. He's relevant just because of how over he is, because of his gimmick and his music. Mm-hmm. So that's fine that Joe didn't win. He will at some point. I'm, about 90% sure. So it's not a big deal for me that Hendry didn't win it. The big deal for me is that Nick actually won because it shows that him taking the bet on himself and going outside of his comfort zone and doing something he's never done before would pay off because, he's seen guys he's worked with previously do it. Guys like Claudio, guys like Moxley, Christian doing it again. The only caveat to that is all those guys have, minus Christian. I won't count Christian, but those guys have like the indie experience. Mm-hmm. He's kind of new to the indie experience because he was a WWE guy for so long. So it's kind of like a new territory for him. And to actually take that gamble and see it pay off, it's a good thing. So I'm proud of the man. I'm proud of TNA for giving him that shot and seeing what he can do because he's not going to miss.
Yeah, I think you put a nice bow on it. It's just good to see where they have Nick and giving him the ball now and seeing where he can take it, because they certainly created an air for everyone in the match to reach a certain level where they all felt worth it. So to end it, giving it to Nick, And now we really get to see going forward what it looks like as a champion that's really given the reins to be the face and the world champion. So I think that's the silver lining of it all.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then to jump into WWE stuff, I say we start where the controversy is, and then we'll go into the news of how the week actually played out. Starting with the releases, or not releases, rather than uh, the people whose contracts are coming out and contracts are ending and being removed from the website, and
Yeah.
all the speculation surrounding names like Ricochet, names like Tamina, names like MVP, names like more recently Bobby Lashley. Now, there's a lot of things up in the air. Duke, just give me your thoughts first on, where your head is at with the releases coming out.
All right. So I feel like I've been ripping people a new one this pod. And some people say some things change mid-show, some things don't change mid-show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna change a little bit because I do need to say this. Does it suck that Bobby's gone? Does it suck that MVP's gone? Ricochet, Tamina, does it suck they're all gone? Absolutely. Are they all tremendous talents? Without question. However, with that being said, I will say that I'm glad that it happens this way and not the way that we're accustomed to it happening, being
Mm-hmm.
like just getting released midway through your contract. Then you get slapped with that 90-day no non-compete clause. So you're pretty much just sitting around for 3 months doing
Mm-hmm.
nothing while you lose your job. And in the Triple H side of things, he's kind of just, if you're not working out, but your contract's close to being up, he kind of looks at it in the sense of, I'm not just going to give you the axe 90 days. You can't do nothing. We'll ride this contract out. If we can bring you back, great. If not, no harm, no foul. If the contract expires when it expires, you can
You're free
still
to go.
You're free to go, and you can jump on a show literally the next day. That's kind of what they just did with Dolph, like we just talked about him with Nick Nemeth. They let him
Mm-hmm.
go as soon as his contract was up. My man was out there in the Indies doing his thing,
Mm-hmm.
going to New Japan, going to Impact, going everywhere, just hitting all the little spots.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of appreciate that Hunter has that aspect to it, and I'm interested to see where some of these names end up. I can kind of have an idea where at least 2 of them are gonna go, but that's for topics of a later discussion. I'm just sucks seeing them gone, but I'm glad that they weren't just completely axed and they kind of just let the contracts ride out.
Yeah, I think regardless of the speculation as to why and how and whether it was worth it or all that other stuff, I think we should take time to appreciate the fact that it is done in a much more um,
Professional fashion.
professional, respectful fashion rather than budget cuts, releases, and sit on your ass for 3 months.
Yeah, or burning a bridge essentially.
Exactly. So I feel like if this is the way it has to be done for whatever reason, I prefer it this way. I think everyone prefers it this way.
I mean,
And
don't get me wrong. There is some extenuating circumstances where they should, we got to cut you right now. You got to go. Sorry. But
yeah. Yeah, it ends up kind of being what it is. Did you I can't say I expected Bobby to leave either, but I could have said the same thing for Ricochet. But at the same time, Bobby, I feel like has nothing left to prove here. If he didn't ever get another shot, he'll would have already been a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean,
So I think in that respect, if Bobby felt like things weren't going his way, why not? And as far as especially if what they're saying as far as MVP is what it is, um, and then as far as Ricochet, I'm sure I've been saying for years that his stock is much higher outside of WWE than it is in WWE.
yeah,
And I don't know that the Speed Championship was elevating his status so much. Um, I feel like he probably felt like if they weren't going to take a chance on me after the Logan Paul match, then I'm probably better off elsewhere.
mm-hmm,
But at least there was enough respect involved to be like, well, let's just write it out and then I
yeah,
just won't come back. You know,
mm-hmm,
I feel like it's better that way. Moving on to some people that are going away from TV for different reasons. I feel like we'll touch on this and then we can jump over to two of the hotter things. In Bloodline news, the gang strikes down one more via chair to the throat. And Cody Rhodes' promo against the Bloodline, I want to say, he gets interrupted by A-Town Down Under, who are upset about the Bloodline ruining their match to call him out, I guess. And Cody says, all right, well, I'll fight the both of you because he's Cody. And the GM, being a responsible GM, says, I won't let you go out there alone. Fine. Cody has to find a partner. We get a mystery partner.
mm-hmm,
Not much of a mystery if it's still on the roster, if you ask me, but hey.
yeah,
He gets a mystery partner. What they don't know is mid-show, Solo has made a declaration to the locker room that if you with Cody, you against me, and that ain't gonna fly. As of now, if you associate with Cody Rhodes, you are on my hit list.
that is very Severus Snape-ish to say, very Lord
And
Voldemort-ish to say.
I thought it was very Tupac. I thought I thought it was a very I thought it was a very it felt like the end to hit him up. It felt like I'm going, I tried to keep it sweet, but if we're gonna have it like this, then anybody on your side is donezo.
Mm-hmm,
So he said it better be a handicap match, otherwise you better look out. So you're gonna pay that price. And they were not sleeping at all. Midway through the match with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes against A-Town Down Under, the Bloodline strikes, and it's a good little back and forth. Cody gets some help from oh my god, who is it? Crawford, Terrence Crawford, Terrence
yes,
Crawford.
mm-hmm,
Hands him a chair. It looks very even, and then what I would have predicted to happen every time happens, and Jacob Fatu happened, and he cleaned house, and he evened the odds. As a matter of fact, he doubled the odds,
mm-hmm,
and they end up putting Cody through a table and making Cody watch as they strap a chair to Kevin Owens' neck and throw him into the turnbuckle, thus writing him off or killing him in wrestling terms. Uh, so another one bites the dust. Our team RKO is now Dunzo from TV for at least the next week or two.
yeah,
However long these things are gonna go until they need them. So they're effectively written off TV. Thoughts on Cody Rhodes being essentially isolated from the SmackDown locker room after the assassination of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, and kind of drawing the line in the sand that he better be on an island of his own or
oh,
you're gonna have trouble.
man, I think if Cody's on an island, I think he better start making phone calls to them other islanders.
To them other islanders.
Yeah, I mean, we knew somebody
He
else
does know
who.
some other islanders.
Yeah, I mean, we did know somebody else who was once on the island of relevancy.
Mm.
Uh, We knew somebody else who.
Oh snap! You know
Yeah.
what? You know what? You know what else? I'll give you another pun. He's on Cody Island. If
Yeah.
you remember that term from AEW when you were on Cody Island and you were
Yeah.
like just in this weird little part of they've
He,
created a new Cody Island.
yeah.
Either
So
you're on Cody's Island with him and you die, or Cody's on an island by himself.
I don't know, man. We got an Islander we can call for some backup. We got a man with the
We
golden hand.
we might have two,
Yeah,
but it all depends.
maybe three.
Maybe three.
Yeah,
Maybe three in a crazy universe.
yeah. You could get a couple Islanders, and then you got your old boy from Canada. You can call back up.
There's always a chance. There's always a
Mhm.
chance. Um so Kevin Owens dies and then
You got it worded like that. Kevin Owens dies.
in wrestling terms, he's dead. Like, you can't die like you used to in the 90s in a flaming dumpster. Now
Whether it's longer or less than Chad Gable's death, we will not know.
yeah, I think the sickest death I've ever seen, and then I move on, was probably Dean Ambrose dying when Seth curb stomped him through like cement blocks.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's got to be the craziest write off I've ever seen. And I feel like he still came back in like a month. It was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. But in the line of people coming back, Mommy, who's just returned, went out and had her big promo declaring her and Liv for SummerSlam. It was a great back and forth, but Mommy was not without her troubles as young Dom was after her like a hopeless pup all night.
Yeah.
It felt and this is not because I've been binging that 70s show, but it did feel a lot like Foreman and
Donna.
Phil, Foreman and Donna, where this helpless little man was helplessly, going after this woman that could do much better than him, and 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 he ends up getting in a fight and losing a fight with Jay Uso because of it. Yeet. And so now we seem to be in this triangle or rectangle or square or rhombus, whatever you want to call it.
A lot of points to hit.
This fatal four-way of love,
There you go.
if you will, between Jay Uso, who would like to take Mommy to Waffle House,
Mm-hmm.
Mommy trying to see if she forgives Dom,
Mm-hmm.
who might have been cheating with Liv,
Mm-hmm.
who also attacked Rhea and got her injured in the first place. So, where are you at on this weird square situation? And is this going to end with Dom being held up in a cage and them fighting for his custody?
Look, at this point, I think that's like the only logical thing you can do, or maybe I don't know. There's so many dynamics to play at here because Rhea's playing right along with them. Does Dom really with Liv, or is he just stringing along Rhea? Does Rhea think she's too confident in keeping her Dom, or is she just playing the side and then still messing with Jay? Is Jay really going after Rhea, or does he just want to piss off Dom? There's so many different dynamics you can touch on here. It's almost like a Mr. Miyagi effect. It's like a wax on, wax off. As soon as something goes this way, there's something else that's over here that has to get wiped. Then you go this way, and then it's back over here.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic they're pulling. What do you say to the people that are speculating that maybe Liv is actually healthier for Dom than Rhea's?
I mean, just you have to speak facts. You have to look at the facts. Rhea couldn't Did Rhea get Dom a North American title? Sure, she got him a North American title. But Liv, got him to beat his deadbeat dad. Got the Judgment Day, the tag team titles back. Liv also won the Raw Women's World title. So, I mean,
PS5,
chicken nuggets.
I don't know, man.
Carlito seems a lot happier.
Carlito does seem a lot. Carlito's funny.
I mean,
not that he
granted,
wasn't funny before, but he's much easier. He's much more able to shine now than he was before.
She even tossed a little assist to Damian at some point too, even though he wasn't very receptive.
Even though he wasn't looking at it,
yeah. She gave him a slight little assist too. We can't forget that.
Yeah, and trying to take everything from Rhea, she is kind of making the group better. I will say that.
And she's a lot nicer. She's a lot nicer to JD than Rhea ever is.
A lot nicer to JD.
So it fits.
Yeah,
there's some plausible things there to look at. That's all I'm gonna say.
At the end of the day, we might actually be backing the more destructive horse. But I mean, hey, anything for the nostalgia, I guess.
Sometimes you get addicted to crazy.
Speaking of addicted to crazy, a great place to end. So Chad Gable, our lowly hero, our anti-hero, Chad Gable, with his family abandoned him, or him abandoning his family, however you choose to view it, after the destructive loss of Sami Zayn. He finally has help. He's gonna call out Bo Dallas, who he discovered is the real leader of the Wyatt Six. To my surprise.
Yeah, I think it's to the surprise of many.
I didn't know who Uncle Howdy was.
No, I thought it was Savio Vega. Boy, was I ever wrong. Uncle Howdy had a little TNT in him.
So okay. So
keep it together, man. Keep it together. Point Duke.
All right. So Chad decides he's gonna call Bo Dallas.
Wowie.
He goes in the middle of the ring and summons Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, and ends up jumping him with the Creed brothers, the newly appointed Creed brothers that have been in deep talks backstage with Chad Gable, but up to this point haven't actually stepped up to be alongside him. So it is the debut and a blindsiding of Bo Dallas. And it seems to be going very successfully. And we seem to be getting a good debut, a debut the internet was asking for, a debut I think all of us wanted that puts Chad in a more legitimate place. Unfortunately, during the beatdown, several times they thought it was over and Bo Dallas just kept laughing. And if you pay attention, somewhere in those laughs, he says, yeah, which is a callback to Brody Lee. If anyone has a connection for some cheap Brody Lees, let me know. And while he's laughing, eventually, after failing over and over to take him out, the lights go dark. And the Wyatt Six form in the ring, cleaning house. And we get to see in the middle of the ring the real life formation of the Wyatt Six surrounding Bo Dallas as Bo Dallas.
In front of our very eyes.
Howdy. Yeah, in front of our very eyes, we get to see the group form as what I feel like is I don't know, I don't want to say come to life form, but in a real like, okay, like now we're actually getting our hands in on things, and we can like, I don't know, and like a story beat that felt like, okay, now it's real. Now we get matches maybe instead of just the tapes. Now we're like people. Like we can be ourselves and we can be these monsters at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I did enjoy that. What were your thoughts on Chad being laid out, not killed, but
Mm-hmm.
essentially forming his faction only to get laid out once again by the power of the
Yeah.
Wyatt Six.
I mean, that decision we knew was going to happen sooner or later. We kind of figured the Creed brothers and Chad Gable. It made sense. It fits well. They look good together. Let's make it happen. The newly formed team angle to
Hmm.
only be squashed by the Wyatt Six. Um, it kind of sucks that that's how they got to go, but hey, that's how you got to go. We need the Wyatt Six to be as damn near untouchable as they can be going forward for the
Hmm.
meantime. And
Hmm.
obviously, sooner or later you'll find the chinks, you'll find the cracks, and you'll be able to wiggle through and get some fun in. But it's a slow process with this. This is still fresh. This is still new. They got to be dominant, and I think they established that this first week of showing everybody because they cleared the ring without even touching anyone.
Hmm.
And you got to see Bray do some, or not Bray. You got to see Bo do some acting of his own in a sense. With the laughing and the yeah, 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 and then grabbing the face and then being like, "There you are."
You know, I that too. I felt like that was, man, that was probably the moment there for me.
Yeah.
It was a full transformation because it was Bo as Bo, but it was that moment where he's having that Joker esque moment of laughing through the pain, and the moment between the videos and what's happening actually connects. In the
Yes.
videos, he was kind of taunting himself until he found that part of him, that real anger part of him that needed to come out. And in that moment, Chad became that part of him, and Bo like literally caught it and was like, "Boom, there it is." And the same line you hear, and now it you kind of knew what happened next before you knew what happened next, because as soon as he said the line, you go, "That's the line from the tapes." Wyatt Six hit,
Yeah.
and now
So
it's like it was like Jason's music playing when
yeah,
he said the
I feel
line.
like what they could potentially do with this, if you ever battle someone
Hmm.
and he does the "there you are," maybe he could see it as a sense of like he's trying to show the real light of people.
Yes,
Like he's making everybody see that Chad's really a dick, and when he finally shows he's really a dick, there you are.
right. It's a perfect. It would be a perfect, I want to say, story beat. It would be a perfect motive. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. It's perfect motive. Bray always moved with a certain kind of motive, and in the spirit of early Bray Wyatt always wanting to pick apart what the people thought of you and find that layer he felt was really in there. That was the big thing with John Cena. That was the big thing with The Undertaker. A lot of that early thing was, this is what you are to the people, but I know the real you. And that is exactly what it felt like when he got his hands on Chad and that moment happened. I would
Yeah.
love for that to be his thing, is
Mm-hmm.
finding the truth in people
Yeah.
and
Show them the
using
truth.
and using it against them. Yeah, that's there's no better way to say it. I felt like that's a great place to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that was it. So guys, now that we made it this far, I've forgotten to mention to you guys that we're not just wherever you're listening to this right now. We are also on several other platforms. If you want to listen to us on Apple, if you're listening on Apple, we're on YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, we're on Spotify. We're on a lot of the places you can hear audio podcasts. And we're on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're pretty much everywhere. And we have a website, dangerousjobberswebsite.com.
Mm-hmm.
So head over there. We have articles. We have Wrestlers of the Pod, which is a segment we do often.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you made it this far, you might as well like and subscribe. I mean, this was a great pod, right? This was a
Yeah.
great pod.
Yeah, you got to make sure
Uh,
you got to make sure you stay tuned in. You got to make sure you subscribe, like the
right.
videos. You got to make sure you hit the bell for the notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that we do on any of the
Yeah.
platforms, because you never know. We might have some special guests on. We might have some sponsors coming in real soon, because you never know what might
You never
happen.
know. You never know.
Got to stay tuned in. But that's it for this week. From myself and from Stevie Jobber, have a great week. Make sure you guys stay up. Make sure you guys stay blessed. But as always, stay dangerous.
People have been asking me
To be the best in the world.
why, Eddie, why?